right, let's get into it. Let's get into it. Man. This film came out some time ago. I have seen trailers for it. I have seen people give me recommendations for it. I did not know it was a Guy Ritchie film until the conversation came up of coming up with an alternate film from the other historical film that we were going to do. My first suggestion was Rock and Roller, one of my favorite Guy Ritchie films. However, it is not available on streaming. So The Man from U.N.C.L.E. was suggested by our wonderful Dad Panther, and I was like, yo, I've never seen this film. I'm looking at this as an opportunity of a lifetime. And then subsequently down the rabbit hole we went. So let's get the initial impressions all the way around the room before obviously we get into the ups and downs. So Iris, would you please give us your initial impressions?
My initial impression was I was kind of curious. I don't want to say excited, but just more curious on how they were going to play this movie out, especially since it's based off the 1964 series, which I have seen. So I just wanted to see how they were, what they were going to do with this one. Were they going to stay true to the original series, or were they going to go in their own direction with it? So more curious than anything else on my initial impression.
Got you. All right, Dad Panther.
For me, I just, again, you got Henry in the cast. Expectations was kind of Italian Job type of thing. So bar was low. Just wanted a good time.
Nice. Yo, check your mic settings for me. It seemed like you were just a smidge loud. Like, you know what I mean? It almost seemed like you were in like a race car situation. So all right. Mr. Lingo, initial impressions. Your microphone, sir, unfortunately is off.
Thank you for that. You're such a professional. You're a gentleman and a scholar, much
Thank
like
you.
our director, Guy Ritchie. All right, so the initial impressions, I was not interested in this at all when this movie dropped. It hit me at a time where I was dealing with a whole bunch of personal stuff. So if it wasn't just like quick and easy action where I didn't have to think or pay attention, I was not interested. And that was my initial impression.
Got you. All right. So let's go to the highs and lows. And I kind of want Dad Panther to start out. Then I'm gonna pivot on to my man Eddie. Then we're gonna round it on to Iris, and I will clean up at the end. So Dad Panther, I am waiting with bated breath to get your highs and lows on this particular film.
Well, I want to first off make sure audio is coming in right. I'm not too high, not too low.
It sounds beautiful.
All right. Well, the highs for this movie was the casting. I thought the cast was nice. I felt like they meshed well with one another. I thought it was shot well, almost like you pour up a nice little scotch or brandy or something. I felt like it felt premium is a word I keep saying all year. As far as the music, I thought the music hit. I thought the location was just as much as a part of the story as the timepiece in the 60s that they were in. And the lows, I would say, is the consistency from the beginning of what we get for this movie. It almost like the second half of the movie became something else. And I'm not saying there's anything wrong with it, but it felt like it was playing a little faster paced, almost like Spy versus Spy. And then it kind of changed towards the end where it almost felt kind of like an Ocean's kind of, you need to figure out exactly where the cookies are at. So yeah, highs and lows.
My man. All right, Eddie.
So for me, I actually want to thank the Dad Panther for pushing this on us because I actually didn't give it a chance back then. So it was the first time watching it for me, and I actually really appreciated it. I didn't really know what the story was about, and I guess the title kind of threw me off. I knew it was Guy Ritchie's rendition of a show that came out in the 60s, but a TV series that was out in the 60s, but I just wasn't interested. I just didn't think it had the backbone or the platform to be Guy Ritchie enough for me. But as I watched it, I was enjoying it. You know, Guy Ritchie has this flair of giving you like smooth, witty gangster, and then he mixed it up with the espionage. So I was really enjoying it. I was enjoying the difference in both the characters, Armie Hammer and Henry Cavill. The girl character, she was fine, but I understood why we didn't get more from her as the story played out. At first, I was thinking she didn't fit with those personalities they were bringing. I loved the way they were clashing, and they were trying to clash, and I felt it was forced. But then later on when we realized who she is and what she does, and it made more sense. So all of it just came together for me well. I really enjoyed it. I will say for Low, not to piggyback off of the Dad Panther, but it did get to a point where I felt like it no longer had the Guy Ritchie flair. It was just strict story. But then as we got past that part in the story where they had to put all the pieces in place to let you know where the story's headed, then we started getting those Guy Ritchie cuts, edits, and they brought it back. So it was a little down period where it felt like it was just a straightforward film. It didn't feel Guy Ritchie enough for me, but that's my only low. I actually really enjoyed this.
Yo, I would actually love to say that thank you once again to Dad Panther. I'm going to co-sign with my other gentleman here, that thank you for bringing that up and putting it on us, and thank you, Eddie, for financing my watch. You know what I mean? That was so important. It was a phenomenal watch for me. Highs were, I would like to say that I was impressed that this Guy Ritchie film didn't have all of the normal Guy Ritchie elements. I actually gave him points for that, because normally I'd be, all right, let me tell you, if people don't really understand a Guy Ritchie element, so you've got to have way colorful characters all over the place. Moments where somebody's going to come in and they're talking loud, but it's inaudible because you don't understand what the they talking about. You know what I mean? The next thing is, really complex storytelling with a lot of a lot of double people changing sides, double crossing each other. I mean, he is probably one of the best at complex storytelling. Yes, I will definitely save the best for last. Let's see. In addition to, he's going to have really well uses of costume. There's definitely going to be heavy leaning on English, UK English culture. You're definitely going to have, so these are all elements that are normally just, the film is going to be steeped in it. Like, he's going to jam pack as much of it as he possibly can. And this film, well, it wasn't set in the UK. It was set in like Germany, and then it was set in another place. So didn't get as much UK influence. Then we didn't have as many colorful characters as Guy Ritchie would love to have. And that's something I really love about it. But the fact that he pulled back and then he made like even his most colorful characters to be very controlled and very purposeful, I was impressed by it. It also didn't jump around as much as Guy Ritchie films normally do. Guy Ritchie films normally do a lot of jumping, and it'll be like you'll have this abrupt conversation, and then you'll just slap to something else, and then and it's really like riding it. Like a Guy Ritchie film or TV show can be like a NASCAR situation where you're like getting whipped from one situation to the next, which is kind of done on purpose to keep you off balance, to kind of like, and then let you know just how complicated your situation is. This film kind of moved a little bit slower. It had a lot more pacing to its detriment at certain points. I feel like one of the small elements that I did not enjoy out of this film was certain scenes were dragged out too long. The first big driving scene was too long. The last big driving scene was too long. We could have sliced out a good 5 minutes out of each one of those, and it would have brought the film down. There were a bunch of scenes where I was like, didn't need this, didn't need that. So you could have sliced this, chopped that. But once again, whatever he does in Hollywood that gets Hollywood pocketbooks open, they just be giving this man money and letting him do whatever the hell he want to do. I don't know who he gave a hand job to. I don't know how he's goddamn finagled all of this stuff, but like, it just seems like they trust in him to do anything. Manny, because he's made a bunch of really dope films, but even as I'm sorry, the lowest level executive could have been like, bro, we can trim a few minutes off of this and it will not harm your storyline whatsoever. And maybe a few more passes in some of the scenes where I felt like they didn't really sell some of the important scenes. But once again, because there's so much horse trading and backstabbing going on, you don't really pay attention to it unless you're really into it and you're used to seeing your favorite actors doing a little bit more. Now, I would also say that Henry, because this film didn't take off, this is another convincing moment where I'm like, damn, Henry Cavill is so good. Why doesn't he get better stuff? Because like we saw him recently in some Argyle, where he was shit, and then you saw, and he's good in this one. See what I'm saying? Another reason why we should erase Argyle from our whole public thought process. And they keep pushing it on me like I should watch it on streaming. No, I will not press play on this garbage. I don't care whether you put it on Netflix, you can put it on Hulu, you can put it on a DVD on my front porch. It will go in the trash can. And that concludes my review. Iris?
Well, to be honest with you, I don't really have much to add. You guys really hit a lot of my points. You know, from the costumes and just like the whole vibe of the movie that made me feel really immersed. Like, hey, this is, you know, Europe in the '60s. And you know, I do have to agree with what you were pointing out, Jamal. There were pieces that I felt like, oh, okay, this scene is taking too long. There's no need for that. You know, hey, let's get to the point. And you know, the transition between the beginning of the movie to the point, you know, before we get to the climax toward the end, it was like a shift in the pacing and the movement and the flow. I would have to say that would be my only, like, my biggest low of the movie. But in regards to like the acting, I thought both Armie Hammer and Henry, they both did great in this movie, you know. And I like that even though they're like going against each other basically throughout the whole movie, and then they realize they're like two people that like, I don't want to be friends, but we're gonna be friends. You know, like I don't want to build this friendship with you, but we're going to build this friendship because, you know, we're gonna be best friends. It's just gonna happen, even though we don't want it to happen. and it's funny how you see their interactions just flow throughout the movie, and it's like, you guys just stop. You're gonna be best friends. Just let it go. Just let it happen. Just let it happen. You know? But yeah, and in regards to the female role, I feel like she was just, it wasn't really about her. She was like more of a sprinkle throughout the movie until you really get, okay, the whole purpose of her, and, you know, the whole purpose of U.N.C.L.E, you know, the United Network Command of Law Enforcement or whatever. You know, so I feel like this was just like basically setting the scene for before they become part of U.N.C.L.E, you know, so it's like the prequel of everything. So I'm hoping they give us more, you know, like now that they're a part of U.N.C.L.E, what happens next, you know, but who knows what's going to happen with, you know, Army.
The question is, I don't know if you're ready for this, Iris. Are you ready for the question? It is the most important question of your life.
Yeah, it's a good watch.
Is the, oh, God damn it. See, God,
she was ready.
She didn't let me. You didn't let me get it off, yo. You didn't let me
stay ready. You ain't got to get ready.
Exactly.
All right.
Iris is clearly not waiting for those marathon rounds.
Yeah, facts.
Hurry up.
All right, just do it. Just get it. Just
I'll be in the marathon round. I'll just be like this.
She gonna be asleep. I don't know why women think we care about that. Like, I'm gonna get mine.
No, I can't do that. I can't do that. So no limp body for me.
Yeah,
that's like necrophilia. Like,
yo, see, here we go. We taking this too far.
That's some true crime right there. No, I'm good.
Review the film, Dad Panther. Stay focused. Man from U.N.C.L.E, classic, good watch. Catch on streaming. Not doing it for me. Oh hell, nah, la la la, or slap you. What's one?
I'm gonna say it's a good watch. It's I think it's a good watch. I think you should watch it. I think it holds true for a movie that came out a bit ago. Like you guys all, you know, got a chance to see it probably for the first time, and I think it was a good watch.
Okay, gotcha. Eddie. I'm so sorry. Which one is a classic good watch? Catch on streaming. Not doing for me. Oh hell no. Or slappity slap slap.
You know, I was gonna go with catch on streaming, but when you think about the fact that Guy Ritchie still did his thing with some content that originally wasn't his, so he couldn't fully do his thing, but he still put his flair on it. I think he did a phenomenal job. So it's a good watch for me.
And I'm also going to go with a good watch. So we will check you guys next week. Please make sure you follow us on all social medias. Please be safe and tell us what films you would like us to talk about next time right here on